We all know that the right visual tool can help bring any set of data to life. And particularly if you are looking to present something or to promote something or sell something, then a decent visual tool, visual aid can really help with that. Problem is, there are so many out there, and it's very difficult to get one that's absolutely correct and also is very, very professional looking. With AI, you can use AI tools to analyze huge sets of data, create very effective, very professional looking visuals that can be inserted in presentations, inserted in reports very, very quickly. And if you want to know more, then please look at the rest of this video.
In this section, I'm going to take you through how to use GPT to very quickly, very easily and efficiently create a lot of visual representations of data in a way that you can then use them in presentations. You can use them to help aid analysis of your findings and to help talk other people through them, and also to be able to pick out key bits of information that you maybe wouldn't have been able to pick out purely by looking at the information on its own. And of course, you can use Excel itself. There are functions to use to create bar charts and graphs in Excel, but they're not always the best. They can be a bit fiddly with the certain data fields, and also it's quite limited in what it looks like, and you can't customize them to quite the same extent, whereas in GPT you generate something using AI from scratch, so you can specify exactly what you want it to do, exactly how you want it to look, etc. So I'm going to take you over to GPT now, and you can see that I've got the data already in there, and I'm asking a very, very basic question straight away, just saying, please create a bar chart detailing sales of each product by location. So we've got the information in there. And it's just going to analyze that now and create a bar chart for us. Again, this is something that you could create directly in Excel, but it perhaps would take a bit more time to do, whereas it's just done it instantly for us here. And we can look at this a bit more closely. You can also see it's a nicer style than the Excel ones are. We can also add on this interactive tool here, which allows us to look at and highlight each individual part of the bar chart. And this allows us to clearly see what's happening. We can see here that the tablet in San Antonio is selling very well. We can see that the smartwatch is selling very well in Chicago. We can see that things like the keyboard is not selling very well in Los Angeles, for example. And of course, that's just one thing that we can do. Let's say we wanted to have all of that, all the different products by location, but all in one line. Now, you and I know that's called a stacked bar chart, but if you didn't know it was called a stacked bar chart, it might be harder to create that. So because GPT uses natural language, we can just ask it something in natural language. And so we can say, can you redo the chart with all products in one line for each location. Instead of line, we'll call it bar. And what that should do is that should then just create a stacked bar chart for us based off our natural language input. Well, it's actually just said all products. It's assuming all products. So include a breakdown of all products, of each product in the bar line. Now hopefully that will have worked, and there you see. So again, don't be alarmed if GPT doesn't always do exactly what you wanted. It's not a mind reader. You have to prompt it correctly. That was my fault for not prompting it correctly. But now that I have done that, we again can look at it, and we can see quite clearly a breakdown by product in location. We can see that San Diego generates the most in sales. We can see that Chicago has the least in sales or lowest sales. And we can also see the breakdowns of the different products within each of those. And of course, you could ask this to do something differently. You could have the various different products along the x-axis and the sales revenue along the y-axis, and have it as the different locations being the different colors in the bar chart. But what we can actually do with GPT is ask it perhaps much more specific questions, rather than just show me a bar chart of this, or show me that, or show me this. We can maybe ask it something very specific. So for example, we want to look and analyze Philadelphia. So we might say create a pie chart showing breakdown of sales by product sales in Philadelphia. I'm going to misspell Philadelphia here, I'm sure. Luckily, we've got spell checker in there. And so we can then see exactly the breakdown, the percentage breakdown in Philadelphia. We could do that for multiple different locations. Again, we could switch that to an interactive one to show the total breakdown of sales at the touch of a button, not just the percentages. And we can even ask it to do really, really specific things like create a graph showing the correlation between product and location. So rather than just looking at bar charts and things, actually break down a specific correlation between which product sells well in which location and the magnitude of that correlation. And you can see it's given us a really detailed heat map here. So we can see exactly how much sales revenue is generated between each particular location and the particular product. So we can see that in New York, no revenue was generated from smartphones. Well, we could ask why that was. That's then allowing us to ask questions. Did we have no supply of smartphones in New York last year? Is it that we just simply haven't chosen to sell it in that location? But we can see that smartphones are actually really popular. We can see that particularly in San Diego, there was a huge amount of revenue generated by the smartphone. So maybe we now know that the smartphone, there is a market for it. Let's start selling it in New York. Let's start selling it in Phoenix. We can see that the tablet had huge amounts of sales in San Antonio. So maybe making sure that we've got a sufficient supply of tablets to the San Antonio market. Same for San Diego with the smartwatch market, and so on. You could also maybe ask it to provide we'll just copy and paste this for ease, to create a graph showing the correlation between product and season. So which particular products sell well in which season and which ones don't. And again, you could do this with the pie charts or the bar charts and this, that, and the other, but it would be quite difficult to do and to actually link that correlation together. Whereas we can see here very specifically that smartwatches, they sell best in the summer, tablets sell best in the fall, headphones sell best in the summer, and mouses sell best in the winter, and so on. And we'll just do another one for luck. And this time So we've got the product and the season, we've got the product and location. Now let's do location and season. And it's going to create a third heat map for us now. And we can see that in the summer, generally there was the highest amount, but actually that there are a few locations, so Los Angeles, New York, San Antonio, Houston, where actually it was the fall that had the highest amount of sales. And you could go further into this analysis and essentially start asking it questions, start asking it to make recommendations. So give me 5 key takeaways from this graph. And I'll just specifically say the correlation between location and season. It's one key tip there that you want to be specific because GPT remembers the whole conversation. So if you're trying to ask it a specific question about this graph or table that's on screen and you don't specify that, it might start bringing in information from other graphs that it's been looking at. So it's saying to us that the peak sales do differ by location. It's not like the summer is always the highest, that the seasonality does impact the sales volume, that certain seasons are quite underperforming. It's a fairly balanced overall seasonal revenue, etc. And we can use this information to optimize inventory staffing and marketing efforts. So, for example, we'd know here that in the summer, our products sell really well in San Diego. So in San Diego, regional marketing needs to be very high during the summer because we know that's when a lot of people are going to be buying our products. And this is just a small introduction what you could do. There's a whole raft of different things you could ask GPT to do to visualize the data for you, but what you should be able to see is that it's very, very quick, very, very easy to generate lots of charts, lots of graphs, lots of tables, all very well displayed, visually very pleasing, but not just visually pleasing, but actually revealing in terms of the information. So if you think back to the start of this section, we were just kind of looking at this long list of data that wasn't really broken down by anything. It's now showing us that there is a correlation between location and season, by location and product, and we can use all of that to make decisions for our business.